Good morning, Jordan here. Beautiful day in Colorado, 75 degrees or so. Lovely day. Day you hope puts people in a good mood. Kyle's on his way down here to pick up the Model S Plaid. Let's just say I hope he's in a really good mood, enjoying the weather. Let's hope his week's going well, because something's gone wrong.
Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. And well, I thought it would be kind of interesting for you guys just to hear about the crazy car week we've had this week. It's been a little while since I've done a full garage update, and perhaps I'll do that on my personal channel, which I'll leave link in the description below to update you on car situations on cars that I own. But this week's just been so insane, I thought I would at least let you know everything that's going on. And you just have to laugh because some of these things are just insane. For example, I had a car stolen and it was so bad they returned it. So we got some stories for you today, but thankfully I'm on my way down to Jordan's house. He's been borrowing my Tesla Model S, and that is like the only car with no issues going on with it. So let me tell you about everything. We'll then take a ride down to Jordan's house. It's about an hour away, pick up the Model S Plaid, and then head back to Fort Collins. So you join me in the GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate. This is not a review of this truck at all. We're actually heading down. I wanted to get this truck because it had the full Super Cruise action going on, and I want to run it in our Hogback Driver Assistance Challenge, because tomorrow I'm actually swapping this for the Chevy Bolt EUV, which has like a light version of Super Cruise. So I was like, hey, let's do the full Super Cruise testing and then test the EUV and see, like, are you actually missing out on that driver assistance system? So I'm loving this truck, getting a massage right now. It's got a big meaty 6.2 liter V8. If I put my foot down, listen to how good this thing sounds. Nailed. Hell yeah, brother. America, and the brakes work. This thing actually rips. No secret, I'm a truck guy. I know that's not your thing typically on this channel. I just love trucks, and this is the Ultimate. Sierra Denali Ultimate. Love it. Anyway, we are heading down. So let's talk about all of the crazy car stuff that's happened so far this week from when I got back from Europe. First, I got a call from Melissa in the Audi e-tron, and she said she took it through the car wash. We use a touchless car wash here in town, and we have like an unlimited subscription. We just take all the cars through to keep them nice. And she's like, well, I'm covered in water. So the whole car leaked everywhere. This is after I don't really know who did it, but someone put whiskey in the passenger seat, it wasn't me, and it exploded and soaked the seats. That problem's been taken care of, which was kind of a disaster, but no issues now. Now the car is just leaking every time we go through the car wash on a relatively new-ish Audi e-tron. So that's going in for service. Like, okay. And let's hope that didn't damage any of the electrical stuff. Then I took the Rivian with a trailer down to go pick up my Range Rover, and I made a video about that on this channel, and it's a classic Range Rover, and it's just, you know, one of those classic cars that I've wanted to own, and I'm going to keep forever because I found the right one. And Judy is great, really great. But after a $6,000 service, she completely exploded in our face. No joke. We were driving it around, and I was like, hey, Alyssa, you haven't driven the Range Rover yet. Why don't you hop in and take it for a drive? This was us testing it out after towing it back to Fort Collins. She gets in, throws it in drive, and bam, hot coolant comes out all the vents. So yeah, and then obviously had to shut off the engine. There's no coolant in there anymore. So my guess, it hasn't been back down to get fixed, is that the heater core exploded and sent flaming hot coolant out through the whole interior. So now Judy needs new carpets and a general thorough deep clean and a whole flush and coolant. It's like, okay, but that's to be expected. That's an old Range Rover. Nothing, you know, I think people are surprised that I even got 10 to 15 miles after a major service before it broke down again, as am I. So not, you know, to be expected. I then rode a bicycle home to get the Rivian and the trailer to go pick up Judy to throw it back in the garage. And as I'm pulling the trailer over to pick up Judy, the tire goes flat And yeah, then I got a trailer with a flat tire and a broken Range Rover on the back of a Rivian. Anyway, I used the Rivian air compressor to fill up the tire. Super useful to have a fast, high-power air compressor on the back of the Rivian from the factory. And I used that to blow up the tire and, you know, limped it home. It was right down the street. It wasn't a big deal. I want to say a huge thank you to Chesapeake Climate Action Network Action Fund for sponsoring today's video. Now, we've highlighted this organization all summer, and they are doing some incredible work in the fight against climate change. They are actually giving away a Tesla Model S Plaid or Model X Plaid, $135,000 worth of Tesla credits, or a Rivian R1T. All you have to do is go to evraffle.org. It's a $200 ticket, and that can earn your chance to win one of these vehicles. The cool thing is actually they're undersold a little bit too. So they have about 2,000 tickets left to go. They've sold about 3,500. And that means if you want to earn a Tesla Model S Plaid like this one, maybe slightly less damaged, you can go and actually buy a ticket right away. I would suggest doing so. I don't think your odds will ever be better in winning a Tesla Model S or X Plaid or a Rivian R1T. By the way, the Rivian R1T is actually in their garage and ready for immediate delivery. So head to evraffle.org. Thanks to Chesapeake Climate Action Network Action Fund for sponsoring today's video. I also made a video this week about our Tesla Model 3 having issues, which it will not AC charge. It only supercharges, so at least we get energy in there. And there's a crazy bearing noise and needs windshield glass, and there's a whole video on that car, but it's basically in not drivable condition right now. Every time you turn left in the Model 3, or right, but if you go straight, fine. The Model 3, you know, is just a little bit of deferred maintenance, a little bit, you know, should have changed the glass. The charging issues just with age, it's got 110,000 miles on it. And, you know, to be expected that things won't just work forever. So that car has got to go into Tesla to get the high voltage stuff figured out. And then we're going to put on the lift kit and get it ready for rally spec Model 3. Can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome. And then this all happened within a week. And then Alyssa called me because she was on a dog rescue run. She took the Rivian and she said, "Hey Kyle, I just crashed your Rivian into a fence." And I was like, "Oh no, like, is everything all right?" She's like, "Yeah, I think so." So she drove the truck home, drives fine. I'm like, okay, well, it can't be too bad. And thankfully, it's just a tiny little, 2 tiny scratches on the back of the truck. Not a big deal. She's probably just gonna leave it, work truck spec, and I don't know, we're gonna wrap it anyway, so not a big deal at all. But like, I didn't ask on the phone how bad it was, so I was just picturing like, okay, here we go, body shop, gotta do the Rivian stuff. Thankfully that's okay. But that truck does have a busted charge port. It does have major suspension issues and driveline issues that are just making bad noises. Maybe I shouldn't say major because everything functions, but just creaks and rattles and stuff all coming from the suspension system. Way worse than when I left to Europe. So whoever's been driving it, you know, just age. I don't think anyone's been abusing it. I think it's just been age on the truck. It's got 8,000 miles on it now, and that's what happens. And then it doesn't stop. And then I got into the Sprinter the other day to start it, and it wouldn't start. And the Sprinter just died. It won't start. All right, let's try that again. Come on, Sprinter. And dead. Everything is broken. And, you know, after about an hour, I finally got it running, and then it was stumbling, and now it's running great. I just had to kind of blow everything through the lines. I think it just sat for too long, and these diesel Sprinters typically don't like to sit for that long because the fuel runs out of the lines and it's got to get pushed back into the engine. And but actually that turned out to be okay. I am having some battery issues on my Sprinter. It's a Winnebago Revel, for those of you who are not familiar. It's typically seen on our out of spec overlanding channel, and that thing has just been kind of you know, I guess unbalanced in terms of the battery packs. I have a few kilowatt hours of storage with solar on top. One of the batteries doesn't seem to be charging, so that's a project for another day. But the smart car is doing well. no issues. That's not true. The smart car has a tire issue that we do need to fix because it thumps every time we go. I think the tire is starting to delaminate from too many skids, but that's a simple problem. Tires, I'll take all day. It also is due for a little bit of a service where we have to replace the battery filter. I think it's called, I don't actually know what it's called, but it's some sort of absorbing filter. Yep, and Super Cruise isn't working right now. Is it? Nope, because this is a construction zone and the highway's moved. I don't like driver assistance systems that are pre-mapped, but when the road is mapped, this system works great. We'll have a whole video on it coming soon to this channel, our Hogback series. So with that, I'm running over to Jordan's. I thought I'd give you this quick little update on all of the cars, and yeah, just looking forward to getting back in the Model S and having something that just works. Oh wait, I totally forgot to tell you about the best part. The best thing that happened this week, the funniest thing that happened this week is I own a, I don't even remember what year it is, 2005 Suburban, Chevy Suburban, a big thing for our European viewers. It's a super rare truck. It has quadra-steer, so it's got rear wheel steering like the Hummer EV.
Oh, America!
Nail it!
Woo! George Bush!
This is awesome!
That was all she
Oh
had.
my god, it's so slow. The whole idea was to buy this truck, restore it, turn it into an overlander, and show GM that, like, hey, their crab walk thing isn't all that new, because you can actually tune these to crab walk. So that's the intention. But Zach, it's actually been at his house as he's been working on restoring it, and he had it towed over to the office because it's not registered. So he towed it to the office and dropped it off in the parking lot, put the keys in the gas cap because it's Fort Collins, Colorado. Like, what's gonna happen? I was like, oh, I'll just get them in the morning. And then I totally forgot about the keys in the gas cap, and I just left the truck there and didn't think anything of it. I'm like, great. And Zach sent me a picture of it backed into the parking space. And I'm like, driving by it for a couple days, just the last few days. I'm like, man, I swear Zach's photo was it backed into this spot. I just pictured them rolling it off a rollback and parking it in this spot. And it was nosed in. And I'm like, wow, maybe he repositioned it. I don't know, or I'm going crazy. And then finally I just said, screw it, I'm gonna look at this photo. And the photo was it definitely backed in, no question. And then I was like, oh, I called Zach. I'm like, hey, so remember you sent me that photo of the Burb backed in? Why is it nosed in? Did you have to drive it somewhere? Like, we shouldn't drive it without plates. And he said, nope, left it like that. I don't know what you're talking about. So then I was like, oh crap, let me go check on this thing. Open up the gas cap, no keys. Open up the interior, reeks of smoke and ashes everywhere. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And then I checked the trunk because we had a fresh set of Nokian Outpost AT2, or just AT tires in there. Their new overlanding tire, that's super duper awesome. We run them on our Sprinter van too. Of course, Nokian's one of our sponsors, and they were sponsoring the Suburban by putting their tires on it. Those were stolen and gone. So someone stole the truck, smoked in it, presumably hated it enough to return it, and then stole all my tires out the back. Hey there.
Is this out of spec investigates?
That's right, we're investigating. Dude, I know the quadra-steer
The
fenders.
most valuable thing in the car.
That's all I cared about. It's just so funny that the truck is so bad that they literally brought it back. Now, this brings a couple of concerns up. We don't know where the keys are to the truck. We don't know what happened to the tires, but we've been checking Facebook Marketplace and stuff to see if we can find someone selling these tires, because they're still relatively new tires. It's not like they're out in big circulation. It's a brand new product. So I think it's very rare that we'd see very many others. So we're looking for the tires. And then the other question is, like, okay, did they commit a crime in the truck while we weren't there? We don't know. And actually, I have to call the police today and just let them know, like, hey, we think our truck was stolen and then returned. It's kind of a hard one to explain, I guess. I don't know if that's ever really happened. So yeah, gotta look into that, because I just don't want them to think we did something sketchy with it. Oh, look here, Winnebago Revel, just like ours, but in the sand color. I actually think I prefer this color to the one that we got, and they got all their stickers from where they've been. just like we do. Nice. Love it. Nice Sprinter. Those are becoming very expensive. I bought mine right. Okay, so yeah, there's the Suburban issue. That's with all the cars. Now we'll head to Jordan's.
Wish me luck.
I didn't know these things had rear wheel steering.
Dude, check it out.
Crab Walk Nation over here.
It's an EQS now. EQS.
Holy shit. This thing must have the best turning radius.
Does not.
Does it actually move?
It can, but I'm more worried about this wheel. It just kind of, something's broken.
Half connected.
All right, let me park this big thing. So, yeah. Not been the best week of car-related stuff. There's Drew's Model 3. Oh, let me show you this. This thing is freaking sweet. I'm parking in the spot that says it's handicap, but Jordan assures me it's actually not for handicap. They've just forgotten to take the sign down. But that's okay. I'm not leaving this here. And just got to park this truck. A Martian Wheels durability tester right here. But this looks pretty insane to me. So MW05s in similar to satin Orem, but what would you call the color?
Bronze.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bronze.
Right. And but yeah, it's a particular kind of bronze that we took a while to really nail down. So we'll actually offer that, in mass.
Oh, so you can spec this as a color from you guys from the factory at some point.
Got wheels in stock.
Great. Looks good.
Yeah.
Jordan, I would happily swap you the Plaid if you could find a way to get me that Super Mint E39 M5 right there.
He lives right here.
Really? Tell him we'll give him a broken Plaid in exchange.
Fair
What
deal.
year is this thing? I think it's an 03. It looks like a later one, unless they just swapped the taillights. This is my all-time dream car.
Really?
Yeah, I've always wanted one of these. My mom actually crashed the generation before this, I believe, when she was pregnant with me, and the BMW badge is somewhere inside. Yes, this is literally my dream car. This color, I think it looks like it just sits around a lot. And it's an 03. It's got all the good stuff on it. The new BMW nav system inside, which is awesome. And yeah, need some love. Needs some real love. And so does this.
So does this.
So that doesn't look good.
Nope.
So what have you, well, you'll tell us what happened in a little bit, but so looking around and seeing a lot of dirt marks, and what you've already obviously examined it, so what should I be showing the viewers?
I don't know. I haven't seen many Plaids not in mint condition.
Are you sore?
Nope.
So you're fine.
I'm fine.
Well, that's not really what I care about.
Yeah.
And
exactly. I'm fine. I'm more worried about the car.
yeah, me too. No, just joking. Yeah, so this wheel's basically not attached. I can see broken components.
Yeah.
Literally with a crash sticker on it in there. Do you see that? It literally shows like an impact bar.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, what's going on there? Okay. All right, so that looks spicy. Under here, I'm noticing,
Underliner is definitely.
but there's some sound deadening in here.
Yeah.
That's cool. So we wouldn't have known that. Yeah, all right. So the wheel is holding air.
Somehow
with that.
wheel is still at full PSI.
Okay. Does the car show any warnings?
Something about adaptive dampers.
Yeah, I would say that probably doesn't
And
do
then
it anything.
That was the only thing. And then this morning it shows front left is like 8 PSI low.
Okay, so well that's fine. But the suspension's throwing faults,
Yeah.
as you would expect. All right, well, why don't you take us for a drive and show us what happened? Not in this car.
I was gonna say, yep. Okay.
And then maybe our viewers can help with a good plan to get it back to being roadworthy. Because I think if we're going to start replacing parts, I mean, I don't know. We should have it checked out to make sure the chassis is not all bent up and stuff. But I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But I think we should upgrade if we're going to fix.
Yep.
So we'll see. So we got the Carolina squat action going on here, which makes me think we lost some air suspension stuff going on here. The front's raised up pretty high, but the rear is sagging. The one thing we were just discussing is with such a sideways impact, we're not totally sure the status of the motors and everything else as well, because if all of this just got jammed that way, this says 2 motors in the back, it's a Plaid. And so perhaps that needs to be looked at and adjusted. So I think this will be a process. Be fun to show you guys how this all works. I've never actually gone through like a Tesla repair service situation. 1.25 G's on the suspension, which is not much during an impact.
Front rebound's 52,
that's
everything else is 100.
The max cornering grip of the car.
Right, so maybe that's just as most it shows. Service,
It must sort of
33 PSI. Jack mode, so the suspension's not trying to calibrate, that's good. And then this is the warnings, which just says air pressure. So not seeing the suspension stuff right now. Notifications, yeah, okay. Not sure. The one thing it is in, though, which someone messed with, I don't know who. Display percentage. Much better. Oh, whoa, we just gained some percent there. We went from 59 to 60. Jordan, you cracked it.
Nice.
We're gaining energy.
That's how you do it.
Or the battery's about to catch on fire and the voltage is going way through the roof.
Oh, 61.
Yeah. Now we're back to 59. Yeah, BMS is just a little confused. Well, it was just rattled, so. All right, well, I think this is probably not going to be driven for a while, so I'm going to take my iPhone cable out of it. And we'll let you know what happens with this. Let's go see.
Is this your watch or whose watch is this?
That is my watch.
Okay.
Thank you. Been looking for it. All right, well, let's go see, and you can tell us what happened, then we'll wrap up this video. When's the last time you drove a combustion vehicle?
I don't remember.
We should have a video of Drew getting gas.
No. delete.
So, you made it to the edge of your neighborhood, Jordan.
Yep. So we're a mile exactly from my house.
Okay, nice. So, did you walk home?
Nope, actually I just rode back with it. I had it towed to my house.
Oh, okay. So, who'd you call for a tow?
A guy in Arvada, he could stop here for a bit, let them cross. So I was coming from that way.
From to the right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I took this right here.
So you took this right.
And I went that way.
Oh, are those your skid marks?
Those are some skid marks.
So you must have been in track mode.
Yep.
Which is meant to be used
Yep.
on the track.
Yep.
You also have half a steering wheel. I don't even use track mode in that car.
Yeah, that was the big...
Everyone's giving you shit for blaming it on the yoke.
Oh, I'm blaming it on myself, but
Okay.
the yoke didn't help.
Okay, I would agree, I would say. Okay, so there's the pole.
Yep, so I didn't hit the pole or the fire hydrant, thank God.
Okay, that's good.
The curb stopped.
So wait a minute. We're going through a right-hand corner. The curbs are on your right side. How are the left-hand wheels?
Yeah,
The ones
so
that took
car
the
did
impact.
this.
Okay, so were you in what preset did you have it in? Drift?
I don't know, I just was like, track mode. And then,
Well, let's pull over here, Drew, and let's get out and take a look. Because I see a sign on the ground. I think you took out a speed limit sign.
holy shit.
Yep. I think you took out the speed limit sign. Damn, Jordan, you really should have hit harder, because I always say, if you crash one of my cars, please total it. I don't want it back after crashing.
You're right.
And
I was thinking, only
so,
doing 20.
yeah, you really should have been going harder.
I should have been upside down in the field over there.
Absolutely.
Safe, of course, because it's a Tesla.
It's a Tesla. You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to call them and say, sorry, but you knocked down their sign,
Wow.
which was over here,
Yeah.
because I could see the pillar. This is originally where the sign was mounted.
Ah, that's where that reddish color is.
Yep, so that makes sense. So the
Oh.
front wheel,
The front wheel scraped that.
which also explains that there's no body damage that we can tell.
So that's what's crazy, because anyone who hits a sign, you would think, like hitting a fence with a Rivian, like it's body. But
Right.
like the wheels are the fitment is so good on the Plaid.
Well, it's actually the Martian wheel.
The Martian wheel, yeah.
It's
It's not stock that way. We had issues
Yeah.
with the stock, but the
Right.
Martian wheels fitment caused the tire and wheel to take out the sign, and the body was completely unharmed. Holy crap.
Okay, so we popped the curb. I can see it came here and it went wah boom into the sign, and then
I guess the back wheel must have not come up on the curb, because I ended up in the road. Like I wasn't on the curb and then backed into the road.
huh.
I was completely on the
But
road.
but the front wheel must have been here.
Yeah.
So you must have just rolled back.
Yeah.
Do you remember it, or is it a blank memory?
It's a weird blank memory. I was like, what happened?
Okay.
I remember being
Wow,
very
we
angry.
chunked the curb here. So we have to let them know about that and their sign. No yellow on the car, because that would have been amazing if this popped.
That would have been more dramatic for sure.
Pretty view. The sign was there. It must have just there. And you weren't drinking.
No drinking.
That's good.
No drinking, no cars. So that, yeah,
Maybe you should have been drinking.
To clarify, I would have never tried this. Like, for me, this is this really wide open road.
Right, there's nothing here.
One time I tried it in the Miata back home with a similar road, and I spun out in the road. So I was like, okay, worst case scenario, I'll spin out. And so I didn't give it that much power. Of course, I didn't realize how much the accelerator...
It's also a Plaid.
It's 1,020 horsepower, so that much accelerator in a Plaid is still a lot of power.
It's a lot more than the Miata.
Yeah. Ridiculously more. So yeah, I only tried it because there was absolutely no one around. This was completely dead at this time of night. So I want to clarify, I'm stupid, but also I will not jeopardize anyone else.
Right. Okay. Well, fair enough. I would agree that it's not like you're going to hurt anyone here.
Yeah.
Just your own feelings.
Nothing. I probably should have looked at the fire. I mean, I didn't think I would end up by the fire hydrant.
Right.
I'm just glad I didn't hit it.
Right. I'm not glad. You should have hit it.
Okay, well.
Yep. All right. Well, that's what happened. So you came from this turning lane here.
Yep.
And juiced it. I can see exactly where you juiced it right there.
Yep.
And then just rotated the car around.
Yep.
Okay. And well,
Your hands had a fight.
Dude,
with the yoke.
yeah, what I think, so here's my theory. I caught the yoke at a really weird moment because it wasn't like, yeah, so when I caught it, I think is when, I guess the tires stopped, like they stopped turning.
yeah. Oh, so you hit it at the end of the rack when it went all the way is when you grabbed the yoke.
Must have been, because it was when the yoke was like kind of back to my, because I was like, how do I freaking grab this? And I grab it and like the tires are really nice and sticky, which would be great on track where track mode is supposed to be used. And it must have gripped it then and, you know, I don't know, sent me to the curb.
Well,
You need to do one of those graphic reenactments.
Yeah,
reenactments.
is anyone good at 3D modeling?
Okay, well, I've used track mode once to slide the car around and went, that was probably not great, because the yoke's fine for daily driving. I think we all agree it's not unsafe to drive. We drove to California with it. It's no problem. Where it gets sketchy is when you start sliding the car around, and that was my impression. And the only reason I was going to put a round wheel on the car was just for situations like this. But also, yeah, happens. At the end of the day, no one's hurt. Whatever.
You learned something?
We'll get the car fixed. We learned that you can get rear wheel steering in Model S.
It's possible.
Jordan's cleaning up his litter by keeping his sign. He'll let them know that he took it, but we don't want to just leave it on the side of the road. But I hope they let him keep it.
Souvenir.
Nice. And that's why Americans drive pickup trucks.
You can mount a spoiler to that thing now.
Yeah. Don't forget to tell them you took the sign.
Yeah.
So here's what went into the sign. Right, that bit right there, because that's the orange bits. And I'm looking around and I'm not seeing any marks on the paint. Oh, right here.
That was caught by the wheel, I'm guessing.
Yep, that's probably the wheel. So you got a quarter panel that needs a little bit of love.
Massaging.
Yep. What else? Once you start digging, more stuff will pop up. Rear looks good.
So that must be curb impact.
That's curb. Man, the bead is still on.
Yeah. I mean, this tire is obviously needs to be replaced. I mean, I've never really seen a deformation.
I've never seen a dent in a rubber
Under
tire.
full pressure. Maybe we should let some pressure out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it needs to be replaced. Who cares?
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Fender liner probably just needs to put back into place, although I'm looking and it looks like some of the screws were ripped out of it.
Yeah, I think so.
In terms of body lines, the trunk looks great. I really don't think it's all twisted up, but it must have been a hard impact. Yeah, maybe. I think that's just Tesla build quality, this situation. I don't think that's really anything special. And this all looks good here. So, all right, well,
Want to jack it up?
let's jack it up. Let's see what underneath looks like.
Yep.
And up we go. Take a look at underneath. Let's hope it doesn't start rolling backwards. 19 mil, got those titanium lug nuts on there. Those held real nice. MartianWheels.com, right, Drew?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so we have nothing. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, this got folded up. Okay. Oh man, must have scratched it on that brake dust shield there. All right, what do we have? What are we working with? Okay. Nothing immediately apparent. These big things are all connected.
Except for that one.
Which one? Where? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, right there.
And if you didn't think the outside was bad,
Right.
Wow.
How is that holding air?
that's pretty impressive, Michelin.
That's the AMG spec Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, I believe.
Yep.
So basically what we're looking at is this whole assembly, when it hit, just got shoved back. And really the best way to see that is right here. If you look at the damper and then this bolt, it's basically eaten in to the metal, which is crazy. And so there's just a lot of pressure on all of these components. But it looks like the air system didn't get punctured at all. Took a pretty big hit, but man, it did okay. What is your impression, Drew?
I mean, the control arms are all meant to be the first thing to break, and so they did that, and they didn't send any energy through or enough energy through those arms to the mounting points and any other big, important, expensive stuff to damage those things. So
Right.
yeah, I think you're looking at actually just a handful of parts and
Yeah.
bolt-on stuff.
Doesn't seem too bad. And then the front is pretty much the same as well. But if we look up under here, you can see just some lower arms snapping, which, basically that sign just says don't tow it from that one.
You
Okay.
especially can't now.
Right. But I can also see some other fractures through the camera lens. So I think the front might be worse off than the rear, actually.
Yeah, the whole assembly moves a little bit, which it shouldn't do.
Right. I would agree with that. And also, you can see the tire definitely has a little shave action going on.
Yep.
It did take out a sign.
Yep.
So, well, there you have it. That's the end of the video. Out here in the rain, about to leave, saying goodbye to my Model S. And, that's part of the risk when people drive your cars, and cars are meant to be driven. And I'm not sure in track mode on the street, but look, what are we going to do? I'm an idiot behind the wheel. Sometimes you guys see that. I can't be mad at things like this. Jordan was trying to experience the car, and it's a lot of car. That's something you gotta really respect, all of the power and the size of the weight and the massive tires and and half a steering wheel. Like, there's just things you have to think of. And well, this is one way to learn a lesson. Really the thing things that we can take away from this is no one in the car was hurt, which is great. And cars are fixable, replaceable. I'm not too worried about that. You know, this is stuff that can happen anytime, and perhaps it's a little bit of a wake-up call that can prevent a bigger accident down the road. So thanks for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. We'll keep you updated on the repair process on my personal channel, linked in the description below, and we'll see you on another one soon. Bye-bye.